Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at day 6 of our 12-day review of 4th grade mathematics. As always, we are looking at some items from the 2017 STAR test, that is from the state of Texas. Today specifically we are looking at long division, and we're also looking at two-step problems for multiplication and division. So let's start with long division. This is something that students are introduced to briefly in the 3rd grade, but 4th grade is really where we buckle down and learn this long division algorithm. And when we say algorithm, that simply just means the standard set of steps that we use that your parents probably know about how to long divide a number. So we have a simple problem here. We've got Mr. Evans. He's got 168 cases of soda. And he wants to deliver those to 7 different grocery stores. Here's a key right here, same number. Long division only works if you're looking at equal groups. Whenever you see equal groups or same number in each group or anything that means this right here, that means we're talking about either multiplication or division, because multiplication and division only work with equal groups. So we are going to set up our long division like this. And I always think of, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? That's how I remember the steps. And so that means we are going to divide, we're going to multiply, and then we subtract, then we check, and if possible, we finally bring down. So first, we look at our divisor here, 7, and we're going to look to see if we can divide it into the dividend, which is 168, one digit at a time. So can 7 go into 1? Nope, it can't. So we're going to bring in this 6. Now we're looking at, can 7 go into 16? Yes, it can. It can go in twice. Now, since I'm just looking at 16, I'm kind of ignoring that 8. So my answer 2, how many times can 7 go into 16 without going over? This is where we need to know our multiplication facts. It's going to go above that 6 as well. We'll deal with that 8 in just a moment. Now we need to multiply. Well, that 2 that I just wrote times the 7, we know that's 14. So we're going to subtract 16 minus 14. That's going to leave me with 2. Now before I bring down that 8, we always need to check. This is our remainder from our very first division. This must be less than your divisor. So check, it needs to be less than the divisor. If it is equal to the divisor, or if it is greater than the divisor, you didn't divide enough times. You're going to have to go back and make this number right here a little bit bigger, because if not, everything's going to get messed up. But it is smaller than our divisor, and so let's bring down one digit at a time. In this case, it's the only other digit we have. And we now have a new partial dividend right here, 28. We start everything over again. But this time, instead of dividing into 16, we're going to divide into 28. Most of you can realize that we are going to have nothing left over. We're going to divide. 7 goes into 28 4 times. I'll put it up there. When we multiply, it's just that number we put up there. Not 24, but just 4. So that's going to be 28. Subtract. There's nothing left over. Check. That is perfectly fine. And when there's nothing else to bring down, we are done. We can circle it. Our answer is 24. So if we want, we can take our quotient, and the inverse operation of multiplication is division. Since on this particular test item in 2017, it was a free response. There's no A, B, C, or D to select from. So let's just double check. Let's use the opposite to check our work. Inverse operation, 4 times 7 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14. Add the 2 back in. That's 16. And boom, 168 got us back to what we started with. So our answer is going to be 24. But that is something big that 4th graders learn. All the steps of long division. We apply our division multiplication in two-step problems here. This is our second problem of the day. Let's look at this. The coaches at Xavier Elementary bought cases of sports drinks for a field day. They bought 76 cases of drinks. Each case had 24 drinks. All the drinks were given out to students, and each student received 3 drinks. How many students received sports drinks? I got 3 numbers, and this is why this is a 2-step problem. I'm going to have to do 2 separate operations here. How many students received sports? Well, we don't know how many students there are. First, I got to figure out how many sports drinks did we get. We got 76 cases. So 76 cases, and then each case had 24. So 76 cases of 24 each. So this each lets me know we're going to multiply here. So let's do a little 2-by-2 multiplication, something we learned for the first time in 4th grade. So 4 times 6 is 24. Bring that 2 over here because we can only put 1 digit in this ones place. So I'm going to take that 2, put it up above the 7 because the 7's in the tens place. So there's my 24 right there. 4 times 7 now. We're going to take this ones digit. We multiplied it by 6. Now we're going to multiply it by the 7. So that's 28. Now I need to bring these 2 back in. 28, 29, 30. And since that's my last digit on the top row, I can just write 30 right there. So let's get rid of that to make sure we don't get confused. And we're going to put a 0 in the second row. The reason why we do it is because we're going to take our 2 now, and we're going to multiply it by the 6 and then the 7. But this 2 is in the tens place. So this 2 is actually worth a 20. So we need to make sure our answers start in the tens place. That's why we put a 0 in the ones place. So 2 times 6 is 12. Once again, I'm not going to write the 12. I'm going to write the 2. I'm going to carry that 1 in the tens place. So here's my 12 right there. 1 and then 2. Multiply the 2 times 7. That's 14. Don't forget about this 1 that we carried over. So 14 plus 1 is 15. That's our last digit, so we can go ahead and write everything down. Now we have our 2 partial products, 304, 1,520. Let's add it up. We get 1,824. Now that is one of our answer selections. So that's going to be really easy for us to select that if we don't read the rest of the problem. We've only figured out how many sports drinks we have. So I'm going to write SD for sports drinks. I have 1,824 sports drinks. The question does not ask how many sports drinks do I have. The question asks how many students. I haven't done anything with my students yet. All we know about the students is that all the drinks, so there's nothing left over, all the drinks were given out, and that each student received 3. So this student received 3, and this student received 3, and this student received 3, until we are out of sports drinks. So really what I'm doing now is I'm dividing. So we multiplied first. Now we didn't need to take our 1,824 sports drinks. We need to hand them out in groups of 3 until we are all done. So we're going to, once again, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? We're going to divide. 3 does not go into 1, but 3 goes into this 18. We're going to start with that first, and it goes in 6 times. So we're going to multiply 6 times 3. Well, that makes it easy. It's 18. So we're going to subtract. Nothing left over. Check. That 0 is smaller than my 3. And then bring down. When I bring down 1 digit at a time. I don't bring down the 24. I'm going to bring down the 2. Start all over again. How many times does 3 go into 2? It doesn't go in any times, but I need to put a 0 up there to make sure I keep my place value correct. So 0 times 3 is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. And once again, 2 is still smaller than my 3. But now I get to bring down this 4. And I am with 24. Now I can finish this off. So 3 goes into 24 8 times. And we're going to multiply 8 times 3. Most of you can see that it is going to be an even division. There's going to be nothing brought down. And because we have no remainder, we can see our answer is 608. So if I wanted to, I could double check and I could just do 608 times 3 just to make sure I'm going to get back to my original 1824. So that's going to be 4. Carry that 2. 3 times 0 is 0, but bring that 2 back in. That's a 2, and then that's going to be 6 times 3 is 18. So that does get me back to here. So my answer is going to be 608. Now, I can tell you where this number comes in right here, 5,472. If you did the first number correct, the 1824, and then instead of dividing by 3, you multiplied by 3, guess what you'll get? you're going to get 12. That's going to be 6, 7. That's going to be 24. And it's going to be 3, 4, 5. 5,472. So they get this incorrect answer by using the incorrect operation. The second operation is incorrect. You don't multiply twice. You multiply once, and then you divide once. And so our answer is going to be J608. And then our final problem for today is going to be another long division, but we're kind of looking at the remainder here. So Valerie had a jug that contained 128 fluid ounces of salsa to put into bowls at a restaurant. She filled each bowl with 6 fluid ounces. So filling each bowl, that means it's either going to be multiplication or division, until there was not enough salsa left in the jug to completely fill another bowl. So how many fluid ounces were left in the jug? So we are going to be dividing our 128 fluid ounces of salsa into bowls that each contain 6 fluid ounces. And you're going to fill each bowl, keep filling bowls until you don't have enough to fill in another one. So 6 goes into, let's put that down. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? 6 does not go into 1, but 6 does go into 12 twice. 6 times 2 is 12, so we're going to subtract, and that's going to be 0, so that's a good check. Bring down my next number is going to be 8. Now you can see it's not going to be even. There's going to be something left over. 6 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. We're going to subtract. We can just kind of ignore that 0. That's 2. Check. Is my 2 smaller than 6? Yes. Now I don't have anything else to bring down, so I am done, but I cannot simply say 21. I need to say 21 R2, 21 remainder 2. And if you are in the 5th grade or 6th grade, instead of writing 21 remainder 2, what you're going to write it is in the upper grades is like this. You're going to take your remainder and you're going to make a mixed number. Your remainder is your numerator. Your denominator is your divisor. But either way, you can fill up 21 bowls, which you see that is an answer choice here. 21. 22 is just the next one up if you just did it incorrectly. But I'm not asking how many bowls were filled up. I'm asking how many fluid ounces were left in the jug. What was my leftover? And it's going to be this 2. So my answer is going to be J. This 122 is, if I were to take the 128 and subtract 6 on accident, that's going to give me my 122. Now, how can you check your work? You've seen me multiply to get the answer. Well, watch this. I'm going to take my dividend, 21, multiply it by my divisor, 6. 6, 12. You're like, oh, I'm a little bit short. I need 2 more. Well, that's what the remainder is. You always add that remainder back in. And now you're going to get back to your 128, which is what you started with. So when we're looking at what's left over, at the remainder, at how much is left, that's the remainder. And so we're looking at this tiny little number. There are 2 fluid ounces left. So hopefully you learned a lot about division today. If you want to know more, you can check out day 7 by going to my website, aarondaffern.com.